What's good, superstars? Back with another VV video. You got Superstar Joe. You got Superstar Robin. You got Superstar Vicente in the building. How's it going? How's it going, guys? How are you doing? Man, whenever we get guests on, we just get destroyed. I don't know. Maybe our punches are weak or something, but
some whale punches.
Amazing punches, guys. If you're new here, do not forget, become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification so you know whenever we post some interviews with great community members like Vicente down there below. You guys would have seen, did a long post on X. Very thorough, very passionate post. And we covered it on the channel. We met, we talked in the DMs, and we brought him on to hear directly from him. So we're not misinterpreting anything that he's saying or any of that. We're going to hear directly from him. And really glad that he's joined us, because I think it's like 4 a.m. for him over there. So we're going to get right to you. But guys, if you're new here, you can also become a superstar VIP, $2.99 a month. Hit the join button under the video. Get one of these stars next to your name. You can level up through the stars the longer you hold on, and you'll get more entries into the giveaways every single month. You can follow us on X, Instagram. Join our Discord. Discord's another place to have great community conversations. People are talking about all the projects, including Vivi in there, giving their candid approaches. There's a lot of back and forth in the Vivi chat right now. You got people who are pro certain items and against certain items, and they're all explaining and getting to the root and maybe trying to understand why certain things are the way that they are. So definitely check out the Discord.
So Vicente, how you doing?
Pretty fine, thanks. Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on. Just want to make sure anyone watching, make sure you give Vicente a follow on X. X is his main platform of communication. At WC3NTE, give him a follow. Let him know you saw him on the Superstar channel. And yeah, so Vicente, really appreciate you coming on. We did this video, which you saw, regarding the state of VV official. So what, like just before we get into that, why don't you tell us when you got involved with VV and how you found VV? How long have you been around VV? So what's your story when it comes to VV?
So I think I joined fairly early in beginning of April 21. I heard about VV through a friend. I talked a lot about with him about trading cards actually, but then he went like, if I'm all about collecting, I should give it a look. Yeah, and my first drop was, I think, the DeLorean drop, and yeah, I got involved pretty heavily from the beginning on, and yeah, that's how it all started basically.
Were you ever so you started with the collectibles? Did you ever dabble in the OMI token at all once you started with VV, or did you stick to just collectibles?
I also picked up some OMI fairly early, around the all-time high. Was my introduction to crypto. I haven't done anything crypto related before that, so that's the positive end, you could say. So yeah, but I've followed the space or crypto especially a lot since then. So actually, still a positive thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we did the video the other day. We noticed that you were one of the larger wallets on the app. I mean, from that analysis, I don't know how accurate it is. Maybe you know better, but I mean, have you been collecting the whole time? Were you collecting early on, or have you been really loading it up now that the market prices have kind of come down from obviously that time when we've had all that excitement in the beginning of 2022? Like, what's been the game plan for you, and how do you see this moving forward? People are going to want to know from such a large wallet, like, what do you think moving forward in the space? Should they be loading the boat? What should people be doing right now?
I had several different approaches. At the beginning, I tried to collect all the sets, and I picked up like every set I could until just recently. And also, of course, because I was a big believer in the Master Collector program. And recently, I kind of switched strategy and started selling off some of the, I would call it, random collectibles, and also some comics. And down the road, I will try to shift more into grails or stuff I'm personally attached to. Because yeah, one of, I wouldn't say concerns, but what I'm thinking is, with all the dilution that's happening and all the different drops, I mean, 2 years down the road, who's gonna specifically look for a DesignerCon 2022 collectible? So I want to get myself into a position where I can sell some stuff fairly easy, and that works best with Grails or like a more recognizable stuff, I would say. So yeah, that's
So
the approach at the moment, and yeah, I'm closing in on level 100, so that's also some kind of goal reached, but doesn't matter if it's now or in a couple of months. So I can afford losing some daily points. Yeah.
So what made you do this post? So this post, I mean, everyone, especially within the VV community, I should say, so people within the VV community, they love to hear from some of the biggest wallets. And we've also noticed that VV does tend to want to reward people who are their biggest wallets, right? So and you'd be classified as that. And I think you said you're based on Stackr, you're the 25th largest wallet on the app. But what made you make this article? There's been some impressions by some of the community that, some of the most heavily invested people are hesitant to say anything negative about VV. You didn't say anything negative, in my opinion. You said very factual, logical, and reasonable things. But what led to you to write this post? Maybe did you have any fear that people would accuse you of FUD or accuse you of anything, any kind of wrongdoing? But what went through your head when you made this post?
Yeah, I think what the community lacks at the moment is some kind of balanced views. I mean, like you do it as well, but it's so hard to find just some balanced content that also raises like questions, but probably without instantly fudding. So, and I think everyone that's still involved in Vivi, or especially that's in some way heavily involved, thinks a lot about it. And whenever you think about it, for me, there's stuff where I think something could be improved or could be done better or done differently. And so, yeah, that was just the way to address it. Maybe just to get it off my chest or start some conversation about it, or maybe even just raise awareness from the team or whatever. Yeah.
This is a breath of fresh air when I saw this, because I mean, it doesn't mean that you hate the project. It doesn't mean that you are critical of the project and you only want it to, you don't want it to succeed. Obviously, as a top 25 wallet, that's not in your best interest. But it's just a breath of fresh air to see that there's people out there who can provide constructive criticisms and understand that that's good for the project. It's good to say this could be better, because in the future we want this all to be flourishing. We want people, the normies, as Rob calls them, to come out and be collecting on Veve and in other digital platforms. And for that to happen, we want people to have a good time. We want people to enjoy their time here. And I think when voices like yours, who are as heavily involved as you are, come out with certain ideas that I think are mostly positive. I mean, all of them, in my opinion, were positive, but I don't know how well received. Like, I mean, maybe that's the next question. Like, how did the community receive this post? Did you have people who were upset? Did you have people who were agreeing? Like, what did you find, like, the percentage, like, split was? Or more people agreeing with you, or was it more people upset with the post?
Yeah, I think I didn't realize anyone was being upset publicly. Yeah, I wouldn't understand it as well, because like you said, if somebody cares about a project and gives like constructive criticism or ideas for improvement, that for me it basically shows they care about the project and wanted to succeed. So yeah, maybe it comes down to on if it is done respectfully or I would say in the right way. And yeah, because the people engaging in VV content at the moment are pretty much black or white. So either you are in full support or you FUD any contact you see or go crazy about it. So yeah, it from what I got, it was really well received. Yeah.
Good to hear.
So this first one, you talked a little bit about user base. You want to give us a rundown of what you were thinking when you talked about user base?
Yeah, I just saw some poll on X recently, where you could just click the options on which year you joined, and it's also what I realize when I mean, sometimes if you're in the marketplace or whatever, I tend to check profiles and stuff like that, and I just realized that it's a lot of old users and hardly anyone from 2024 or even 2023, which you could say might be a real concern down the road, at least.
Well, I think you brought up a great point with this. I think that it makes a lot of sense in terms of why the user base is mainly from 2021 and 2022. We all know that this space is a little bit of an investor at heart, right? So it seems like a lot of people came during that NFT craze. A lot of people came during that that influx. And then you mentioned how it grew through word of mouth, how it grew through innovation when it's approached to digital collecting. You heard about it from another collector friend. But now in 2023, 2024, the appetite, I think, for just NFTs in general has gone way down. And I think the masses and the normies they just need to see a little bit more. They may not be interested in simply just buying a collectible. I think they need to see more. And I think that could be the reason why maybe we don't have that same growth in 2023 and 2024, because what made Veve great before may not make them great in the future. And this applies not just for Veve. I think this applies for every NFT project in the space. I think that if you're going to be using the verification of ownership, then you got to do something with that. Or people are going to just say, okay, what am I buying? Oh, I'm buying a FA licensed Disney IP. Okay, great. What can I do with it? And that's what I worry about in the future. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Would you agree that there just needs to be more than just collecting digital collectibles?
I want to jump in here because I want to jump off of the line as he has here. It says Veve initially grew through word of mouth, fueled by its innovative approach to digital collecting and potential profit. While they do have a substantial number of collectors at heart, a healthy ecosystem cannot rely solely on collectors. It also requires investors and flippers. Now, Rob and I, we've been in the space like almost as long as you, and I think we came like end of the year 2021, like October, November, sometime like that. And I think that investor mindset, like that we're talking about here, that had its place in that time period. I think that there's still people here. So like if you want to satisfy a lot of people here, you would have to satisfy that itch for the investor and flippers that are still here. Obviously, they're doing that a little bit with the chase items. But I believe, and Rob, and we talk about it all the time, is the next leg maybe isn't going to be exactly that. Like maybe it's not going to be about the investor. Maybe it's not going to be about the collector. Maybe it's going to be about somebody who just wants to enjoy some kind of utility with these things. So like, do you think that might be a possible way forward? Or do you think that the investor or the collectors have to carry this up? Or do you think it's just maybe an entirely new type of crowd that brings this up in the future?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ultimately has to be a mix of different things. Because I mean, of course, I actually know some people that collect just for the sake of collecting, and think they have like I don't know, childhood memories brought back and stuff like that. But that's really not a big percentage, at least from the people I know. So of course, it also collecting is more fun, like it was end of 21, and when you just check the floor prices or the value of your collection every day, and it just goes up. So yeah, that's what drives investors as well. But I would agree that definitely down the road, or for me at least, it would be a huge benefit if you get some actual utility out of it. I mean, it's hard to do for let's say every collectible, but I would definitely be a nice bonus to have it on some of the top pieces. But then again, it's also not only on Veve's end, but also also the licensors should do their part, in my opinion, if they really care. Yeah.
An example, we did a video, I don't know if it was yesterday, day before, we did it about Disney Pinnacle. I don't know if you're familiar with the platform at all, but they basically sell digital pins of Disney characters, and they were present as well with Veve at D23, and they did this thing where they had digital pin boards. So we speculated on it on the video, and we said, maybe imagine that you go to, because Disney's that basically they're only Disney IP on that platform. We said, imagine you go into a Disney park, right? And you're in line and you have these pin boards that they had at D23. So something very similar. And Disney pin trading is very popular in the parks. So what about if you're in these lines and there's these screens and you can go up to them with your digital collection and you can go tap a pin on this, and it basically, you scan a QR code or whatever it is, and it sends your digital pin to that board so that someone who comes in the line down the line later that day can come and trade with those pins. Like, that's a type of utility, right? Like, it's something that you can do with your stuff that maybe isn't necessarily like, oh, here's an airdrop, oh, here's a physical thing, oh, it's something that's kind of integrating the collectibles into an experience. So like, that's how I see it. I see it. We're moving forward here. These got to have a greater good. It's got to be something that people want to participate in, and you can only participate if you're collecting digitally, if you're part of the ecosystem, if you're part of the community. It all ties together that way, right? So obviously none of that is factual or confirmed from Disney Pinnacle, but we're just speculating on that end. So if Veve could figure out a way to do something like that, like we've done videos on here, like something like Pokemon Go or something where you get together and having collectibles, there's an experience that you can do with them. Obviously a little bit more difficult for Veve with all of the different licensors that they have, because Disney Pinnacle just Disney, like I said. But if they could figure that out, I think that will be like very beneficial for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's also on the licensors, because they could do like whatever they want basically with their IP. For example, if you take the Blackpink drop recently, that would have been the perfect opportunity. For example, you can, I don't know, burn some collectibles to receive actual merch or to receive tickets or stuff like that. And I mean, of course, a ticket, I guess, would be priced a lot higher. But then again, that would also bring so much secondary market fees that it would probably make anyone benefit, and would also bring in the real world fans from the IP and actually onboard them a lot more than what we expected, what we realized in the drop.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then we talked about marketing as well. The existing Veve community is highly loyal, which is why, in my opinion, marketing efforts and content creation should prioritize onboarding and attracting new users. But there has been missed opportunities such as Blackpink drop. What exactly did you mean about those missed opportunities? How do you think they could have done the Blackpink drop better?
Yeah, actually, when I saw it, I was kind of excited because they did a real life video at least. But thinking back of it and how the drop went, I was thinking maybe, or in general, I think what Veve is really lacking is like showing real people, just for example, using the app, showing what you can do with it, stuff like that. And if the girls from the band actually use their collectibles to, I don't know, take a nice picture or whatever and showcase what you can do down the road with the collectibles, it would be a lot more understandable for the fans that watch it, I think.
Yeah, we did a video about that on how like maybe it just wasn't what the fans wanted. Maybe the fans, they're normies, they just couldn't wrap their mind around what they were buying. If there was a way to associate that to any more real world utility, any kind of real world, I mean, people talk about concert tickets, maybe that's too much. But even if it gives them an exclusive, if you bought this, you could get something. But what that is has to be consistent with what the fan base is actually interested in. I know they love shirts, they love all kinds of different things that you can kind of coordinate it with. We did a video on that talking about how maybe that was a missed opportunity. But that probably wasn't the case because Veve has had a lot of success in the past simply selling digital collectibles. So why change? Maybe that's why they've never changed. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just had the expectation that the IP itself would draw really a lot of users in it. Maybe they just overestimated what it would bring. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough to say, but just I think it didn't turn out as good as anyone has imagined or hoped for. So maybe it's also a learning experience for the future, because I think we will still get a big amount of new IPs. So there was also some speculation about the video being pre-recorded, I think, for like a long time ago, but I don't know if that's true or not. So it's speculation basically. But yeah, I think it's something to consider, that like we heard a lot of times that Veve is planning or scheduling a lot of the drops like way ahead of time. So I think they just need more flexibility to yeah, check on the min sizes, or maybe check on advertising as well to see how the actual sentiment is.
Yeah. So this one here, you're talking about communication. Obviously, we know it's been radio silence for the most part, from directly from the team to the community. Whereas, like in the early days, there was all kinds of different communication with Discord and Twitter and even Clubhouse they had at the time. They were doing all kinds of different events where you can go and ask anything you want. And now, obviously, put their foot in their mouth a few times. Then now we've kind of lost that privilege because people gotten upset with certain things that people have said. So there's been other things that have happened. We don't know the status of Alex. I don't think anybody does. Nobody's heard if he's with the team, if he's not with the team. There's been speculation that he's not with the team anymore. And other speculation like this happen when there is quiet times. And Veve kind of just lets it happen and lets it run wild, run free. Do you think that's a good thing for the project, that they let the speculation? Because obviously people are talking, they're talking about the project, they're talking about things that are happening. Or do you think that like, we do kind of need that type of, obviously say here you need an update, but what do you think about the silence causing speculation? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it can be a fun thing for a certain amount of time or in some occasions. But I think the longer it's speculation or non-clear, I just don't understand the reason why you just wouldn't clarify it, especially if someone is involved in live events and shows up every time and is basically really involved with the community. In that case, I would just, as a company, I just would want to clarify it, just to, I don't see any upside in not talking about it.
We've speculated that they've just made so many promises in the past that they had to flop on, that maybe they're just scared to be talking. But I don't think that that should prevent them from being engaged with the community. So do you agree with that, that maybe they ran into too much trouble in the past, so it's just better not to have a conversation about what their future plans are? Or do you think that they need to do at least a little bit better with a roadmap, right? Would a roadmap solve this problem? Because Joe and I have said this a million times, that we think they need a roadmap to clarify things. Do you think they need a roadmap?
I would say a roadmap can never hurt. And I mean, they stressed out a lot of times that they don't want to give out timelines anymore and stuff like that. And that would be perfectly fine with me. But yeah, it would be interesting to see, yeah, what they have planned and what they have scheduled and basically what they're working on. Yeah, and I think the communication aspect is especially tough because a lot of people, or they always say like community is their strongest asset, and the people, for example, that been at a live event and stuff like that and just have been really close and really engaged as well. It's just a big contrast now from that to going radio silent. And I would say I wouldn't demand like AMAs or that amount of transparency, but it's just what the community is asking for at this point. So yeah, like I said, I don't think Veve is like obligated to do anything like that, but it would just help the sentiment. So why wouldn't you do it if all the community is asking about it?
Yeah. So then you have this one here about the drops. Obviously, we know that early on there were larger quantities of drops. You had a great idea in here about having the potential burn mechanism. Not even your idea. I believe that David's mentioned something like this when it comes to the comics, saying there will be some kind of crafting where you can put together a bunch of them to get a special variant. Obviously, very frustrating for people who bought into this thinking like, okay, let me buy a bunch of these 30,000 comics mint sizes, and then eventually I'm going to have access to these special mint. Do you think that they're going to actually deliver on this item? What are your thoughts on this, and how do you see this playing out if they start to get new users? And obviously, we think that there will be bigger edition size, but it's going to be all over the place. I think that they have to do something at this point. I don't know when to expect it though, or anything like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would also rely on some kind of burn mechanism happening down the road. I mean, I think some of the comics already had some kind of a test burn. Shows like 1 of 30,000 is burned. So, and I think on the app you always sometimes you see that little flame next to some collectibles. So I think it's definitely happening. I mean, I'm not in a rush for it, but it's good, or yeah, it would be nice to have some reassurance that goes back to the roadmap, basically, to just say, hey, we're still working on this and it's not off the table. But yeah, I think that's especially if your community has been with you for several years. That's basically one of the things that affects all of the current users, because we all participated in like drops with a few thousand mins. So yeah, I think it's definitely happening. I mean, like I said, I really like the drop structure from the last Mighty's drop, or from the stamps, where you can just basically recycle some of the cheaper collectibles and retain some of the value. So that's a pretty good change in my opinion. Yeah, but also some of the, like I said, some of the drops are, to me, seem really mispriced, or no good decisions on the mint sizes.
I think they might have a little bit of trouble too with some of the older things when they didn't announce things ahead of the drop, because some of these licenses are very particular when it comes to that stuff. We talked about yesterday the whole OpenSea thing, the Howie test, and all of this stuff where the SEC was going after OpenSea. Obviously, having something introduced later to provide value to certain NFTs would be something that probably be frowned upon by the SEC. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of the legal teams for these larger IP like Disney, they like everything announced up front, and anything to happen after the fact, they don't really like it, because it might affect the prices. And then obviously you get into this hairy situation. So it'd be nice to have. Maybe we'll see it, but maybe we won't see it on some things ever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't have to go with the version of having an extra cover for comics, for example. And I'm not into all the regulatory stuff, but I think ultimately you should be able to implement some burn mechanism. And probably it's different if, let's say, you don't get another cover from Marvel, but for example, if we have drops that happen only via master collector points, you could just go and say, hey, burn a common and get X amount of master collector points. So I think that could work, but yeah, I'm not familiar with regulations and stuff. So
How about the VeVeVerse? So the VeVeVerse was another part of this where you said that you doubt it's going to meet the community's expectation. Why do you think that?
I mean, I had a look once, and for maybe I'm just the wrong person, but for me it wasn't really intuitive, so I didn't have a look again. And yeah, the question is, why is it taking so long for updates or for new invites or stuff like that? So I mean, some thought process must be going on in the background. Maybe they rethinking something or whatever. But the main point is that the longer you have the community wait without any update or anything, the higher the expectations, basically, I would say. At least if you're already looking forward to the VeVeVerse and you were promised like rolling out a year ago, and then you have to wait 1 or 2 more years. And then obviously, if you were looking forward to it, you really had some kind of expectations. And at the moment, I wouldn't say the VeVeVerse is really a catalyst, for example, to bring in new users. So for me, I probably won't really use the VeVeVerse. So it just for me personally, it's not a benefit if it's rolled out, because I doubt it will be the sole catalyst for bringing new masses.
This is a video we've done on the topic. We talked about it in our last video, but Veve should cancel the VeVeVerse and do this instead. And we were talking about basically reallocating the resources towards things that are things like you said, like common control, things that the community's been asking for. And just because maybe it's not going to be something for everyone. When they first announced it, obviously there was all the metaverse hype and the building of these virtual spaces that you maybe will one day be able to get into with the Vision Pro and all this hype around that stuff. But I mean, if you're going to be catering to 5% of your audience or 10% of your audience and spending all of this capital and all of these resources and everything, maybe not the best way to do it. But I love what you just said there, how the longer that you take, you're building that expectation, because now you're saying like, no, it's really, really good because we've been taking this long to build it. Whereas if you were to release maybe sneak peeks every so often and kind of show the progress, and people can see like, okay, they've changed some lighting things here. They've done this, they've done that. Even if you don't show any of the IP specific things. Now, we don't know what their deal is with Cavernous. We don't know if they're allowed to do whatever they want at all. But I mean, it's just like you said, that time versus expectation graph. And the longer it goes here, I mean, who knows? The expectation can be through the roof for the people who are left still waiting for the VeVeVerse, because there's people hanging on. They're waiting for the VeVeVerse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also always down to get like positively surprised. So if it finally rolls out, or if certain stuff is implemented, I think is actually nice use cases. For example, if you want to meet, or if you down the road you're able to just show someone a QR code and they can access your showroom, for example, stuff like that. But some people just have crazy expectations from like, we will have pop stars giving concerts in the VeVeVerse, and I just don't see that happen. So
yeah, I would agree with that. I don't see the VeVeVerse. I mean, they showed us at DCon in 2022 what it was supposed to be. I don't even know if it's going to look like that at this point, because then the Tales of the Rizzo did a movie, which he did an amazing job, but it didn't look like what I thought it would look, because I saw something different at DCon. I'm not sure if the VeVeVerse is going to be something that people want to spend time in every day. And I was thinking about it, that maybe at this point, if it's going to take them a number of years to put this out, still put it out, but maybe start shifting some focus. Put out a communication that the VeVeVerse will take another year, 2 years, whatever, that it's in beta, it's being worked on, because I think they know it's going to miss expectations. I think what you said, they know. So that's why they don't want to put it out, because then they're just going to hear blowback. And they've made comments like, what's the point of putting it out for the entire community if they're just going to complain about it? So we would rather keep it on a closed 100-user beta so they can give us the feedback and we can make the updates. But I think what they really should also focus on is the AI integration within their collectibles. I think that could be another thing, which David, you has talked about potentially doing, but I think that can help bring them to another level of utility where the common person will be like, okay, this is kind of cool. I could buy a digital collectible, and if they build the right kind of chat bot, pretty much every single collectible may have its own personality and ability to have a communication. So it's just something that I think that if Veve's not focused on, if you look at Meta and how they're saying they're starting to move away from metaverses, move towards AI, I think that there's some growth there. I don't know what you think about the AI side of things. What do you think?
yeah, AI is pretty amazing. I think we only got a glimpse yet what can be done. So it's definitely a point where you could build upon or do fun stuff. You mean like you could, for example, chat with the Mickey Mouse, or what's the thought behind that?
it would, yeah, be able to talk to them, like have a like a chat GPT organic conversation with the collectibles.
Yeah, that could definitely be a fun idea. I mean, um, another point I was wondering is it was quite a while back, but I remember that we always were in for a little treat. For example, when a season ended. I mean, for example, end of season 2 or so. I think they animated Ritmo, for example, and stuff like that. And I mean, that's like 2.5 years ago, and they were able to do stuff like that back then already. Or like have the DeLorean drivable and stuff like that. So I wonder what else could be done with the collectibles, and what's holding them back at the moment from unlocking some more animations or stuff like that. That that would basically go in the same direction. And if you can add some AI chatting, for example, that would be a real cool feature if you could, yeah, have some conversation with your Miles Morales Spider-Man, for example.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be cool.
So these next 2 points, I think, kind of go hand in hand. You got the ecomi point and you got the Stackr point. Obviously, we know that Stackr's kind of front loading the OMI to NFT. I think that's their way of getting around the regulations of having it all in house, kind of separating themselves from it. Have a feeling that the third-party marketplace is going to also be through Stackr World. So, what are your thoughts on having another platform to go to interact with the Veve thing? Obviously, now we have Veve Comics, you have the Veve web app, you have the mobile and the web app, I guess, are in tandem, and then you have Stackr World. Do you think it's a little too much? Do you think it's something that's cool? I think that Dr. Profit, we did a video how he's saving Veve with some of their promises that they had early on, looking like OMI NFT just around the corner here. I mean, he onboarded people onto Stackr pretty quickly. We're hoping something similar when it comes to OMI to NFT, where everybody gets access. Still curious how many people are going to actually want to burn their OMI, because a lot of people have been holding it down, like you said, from the top. A lot of people who are here early, bought early. Are they going to really want to burn their OMI at the bottom, or are they going to wait for some value to come back before they decide to do that? So that's still up for grabs. But having the mechanic in place will be very cool to see. What are your thoughts on having it separated? I know you write a little bit about it here, but let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think what might be, or what might appear confusing at the moment is, like you said, having another platform. For especially for new users, maybe, but at the end, like they can start with Veve, and for normies, maybe the Veve platform still is all they need, so they don't have to buy via crypto or anything. So I would say Stackr is really good for onboarding Web3 people down the road, if you can finally pay with crypto again, and also on-ramp larger amounts. And from my understanding, it will get a lot easier to overlay the 2 platforms. So we just need to have one login, for example. So in general, really looking forward to what's coming from Stackr. I think it will give the community a lot of features that they asked for. Yeah. And of course, it might seem confusing to having several platforms, but like I said, I wouldn't see it as a too bad point, because new users can still stick to the Veve app and have anything they need in there. And if you want to do a deep dive or really go heavy, for example, then I think most people should be fine with signing up to another platform as well.
Well, I'm going to just go ahead and speculate that I think Stackr will become the third-party marketplace. When they changed their terms of services, it was already around the time that Dr. Profit was starting to allude at doing some side thing. So I think that Stackr will be the only NFT, and it's also going to be the third-party marketplace. We've seen this exist currently on Cryptoys, right? So we've seen Cryptoys do an in-house marketplace and a third-party marketplace. I have a feeling that the Veve one, it's not going to function quite the same. Something tells me it's going to still be a little bit different. Veve will still continue their own KYC, so an individual user doesn't need to use Stackr to KYC. But I think that they're going to rely a lot on Dr. Profit to help provide some of the potential self-custodial, I guess, features that will inevitably come. Because I think Veve's going to have to do this with the whole Dapper lawsuit, which ended up in a settlement. I think they just have too much control and power over these collectibles, and they will only benefit by giving more control and power to the users. Give them the freedom to trade, give them the freedom to buy and sell willingly, giveaway. There's all these things that they want to do. So I think Veve's going to do this. I think Stackr is going to play a big part in that. And I want to mention one more thing, by the way, which I can't remember if you talked about exchanges for the OMI token. But I think that they should also, and they talk about base, which was good. Base was good. But I think that at some point, they did make promises of big exchanges. You know, when do they just close the book on that and just say straight out, they are not going to go on a big exchange anytime soon? Just make it clear they're not going to do it. I think it comes down again. I think these points are all linked. It's a web. You know, it cycles back to communication. Just come out clean with the community and say, we're not doing big exchanges right now, and don't expect them for like the next 2 years, next 3 years, or just don't expect them indefinitely unless you tell otherwise. So what do you think about the whole aspect of exchanges and the past with that? Do you have any opinion on it?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing with Base is like you can, you don't need an exchange to buy fairly cheap. So with the Coinbase wallet, I think it opens up the door to making it accessible without really the need of much exchanges. But then again, you can also just pay exchanges to list your token. So for me, that still would be an option, or maybe. I mean, I'm not into regulations or stuff like that, but at some point, my approach would be just throw some money at it to get some results for exchanges. Yeah, that would be my approach, but not sure what's currently in the making or what the thought process is. Or, I mean, there's also a lot of speculation about regulatory stuff with some lawsuits still going on, and exchanges don't want to get into that. Yeah, probably they're just playing it really safe. Yeah, if it weren't for regulations, why not just throw money at it to just get it done, basically?
I think that's one of the things, like Dr. Profit also mentioned, I think on Stackr, he's planning to do something with one-click buying for OMI, right? So that could be another pivot point. But it goes back to that video we did about Dr. Profit saving Veve here. Is I don't know what their plan was for third-party marketplace or for OMI to NFT before that. Like if there wasn't a clear pathway to having that before Dr. Profit came in and offered whatever his product is, I'm not sure what the plan was. So that's something that it makes me hesitate on any other things that were promised way back when, because I don't know if they've had these plans or if they were just saying things that they hope to do. And I think that's another reason why you need to have that communication, that roadmap. So like people just, they don't have to tell you when it's going to come, but you have to know like this is what they want to do or want to accomplish. This is why you're buying this collectibles for, or this OMI token for. This is the plan that is in place. This is what the ecosystem is going to be. And then you can make a decision informed. I think a lot of people are upset because they feel like they were informed and now they feel like they're not informed. And there's people like, how are you supposed to get new users if they can't be informed? They don't know what they're buying. They go, who's going to come in and buy OMI? They don't even know what the heck it is. They don't know what it does. They don't know what the plans are for it. Who's going to come buy collectibles? They don't know what they're going to do beyond what they are now. It's when we came into the space, there was so much room for this is what's going to happen. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that, because there was so many times that they were talking, so much communication. It was exciting. It was exciting. People wanted to talk about Veve. People wanted to tell their friends, like, this is what's coming. I got this Spider-Man and I'm going to be able to do this with it because they said that at this and this and that. And now they're saying nothing. So what are you telling new people? What are the new people come? Blackpink people come in here. They're like, okay, I got my Blackpink drop. Now what? What do I do? I take my picture with it and then that's it. Like, obviously that's, I think, one of the reasons that didn't work out. They didn't meet the expectations of the the user at that point. Like obviously the Blackpink fan has a certain thing that they want. Like you mentioned, maybe it's some way to get into a concert or merch or whatever. And I think that's where the disconnect's been. So like Rob said, this is all tying back to the beginning. And I think all of your points are kind of intertwined. Communication is basically the root of this. If it's through a roadmap, if it's through an AMA, if it's through anything, talking to your users, letting them know that it's more than just we're working on it. Our team is working hard on it. We really want to deliver it. I think that will go a long way. And I think that people like you, like us, will all be a little bit more satisfied to hear updates with some kind of potential future. What the heck is going on? So, I mean, really happy again to see this, Rob. Maybe you want to go over the conclusion here and then we can wrap it up.
Well, I
mean,
think go ahead.
Just one thought about what you said, the early promise and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, the screenshots and whatever the evidence you could say from the tweets is still out there. So maybe a good idea would be for Veve themselves to do like some state of Veve stuff, and why not go all through the old stuff that's been said and maybe just line out what was miscommunicated or what went wrong, why things were pushed backwards or delayed or canceled. Because I think after all, they're pretty smart people behind Veve. And I'm sure for most of the stuff, there is some kind of reason which made them do it, obviously. And could be some technical stuff, could be that somebody who ran the Twitter just, I don't know, didn't do his job properly or whatever, but why not just do some kind of roundup video, go through all that stuff that's could say the fudders bring up all the time, like tweets from 2021 and stuff like that, and just outline what has changed, why it wasn't delivered, and also of course what happens instead or what the new plan is. That would be, I think, would be a smart play.
Yeah, I agree totally. I think that would be an amazing move, and the community would really appreciate that. I think for sure, especially the people who've been hanging around here waiting. Yeah.
So just the last thing I want to touch on here, which I thought was a great idea, was about transparent data. What do you think about this? Why did you put this here? You think it's that critical in terms of a positive future in Veve, that this is a necessary function that they need to add?
I mean, again, the normal user probably wouldn't care as much, but especially if we have new features like offers or collection offers and stuff like that, and obviously with Stackr onboarding some Web3 users as well. If you go on any crypto marketplace, any NFT collection, that's just stuff I would look at, like the volume, is there sales, stuff like that. So just to get a bigger picture of it. For example, on Stackr, like you can already look up bigger sales, or you can easily track the amount of sales for partner statue, for example. But also I would just like to see an overall stats on how much transactions, how much fees involved, to get a feel if the ecosystem is still healthy or even better than some of the people think. I mean, if you say Veve is dead and then you see they have like still 3,000 transactions a day, that's a pretty good number. So that's just data that any other serious NFT project I know you can access it, and for Veve you can't get any proper or detailed numbers yet. So
No, I agree. I love what you said. Use data to justify your point. If someone wants to say Veve is dead, here's the data. The data shows it's not dead. Problem is we don't have great data. We do have Veve Fox's website, which helps, but we are seeing extremely low number of new active wallets. We're not surprised that you said that most of the users are from the original 2022, 2023, because when you go back, you look at the data, you see new active wallets, you're seeing like 3 or 4 a day. So it's a very low quantity. So, I mean, I think it's been a great conversation. Do you have any final thoughts before we close out here?
Yeah, probably just want to touch on community feedback again, because like what you said in your video, that you get attacked for some points you're bringing up. I would just, yeah, encourage everyone to just maybe not be as passionate when it comes to all the content creators and stuff, because I mean, ultimately, if you watch a video, I would say you either want to get some education or just some different opinions on a topic. Or I mean, you just watch videos to prove your point and prove that, or you get the reassurance that VV is still good and I should buy more or whatever. So I think these are the two main reasons would be for me at least to why watch content. And yeah, just I think what VV needs more is healthy conversations and discussions, and also to give the company the feedback that's maybe much needed. So it doesn't always have to be black or white. I mean, some older people that start making their account private, so they don't get self-shamed too much and stuff like that. It's just not healthy if that happens. So yeah, that would be my biggest point to get out there. Just it doesn't automatically make you a fudder or anything if you raise some concerns and talk about certain stuff that you don't like.
Yeah, it's true. We that's why we pride ourselves on not blocking anybody. We welcome all conversations, and we think everybody has opinions for a reason. They've all thought of these things in different ways. That's how you learn. That's how you grow as a community, as people, as a project, by listening to community and just having communication in general. So again, it's all going back to that communication. So again, really thankful that you decided to come on the channel, wake up early for this. Really appreciate that. So hopefully you can get some sleep over there, and we'll keep it going. Rob, why don't you show off the Twitter here and let's wrap it up.
Yeah, again, Vicente at WC3NTE. Make sure you guys go right away on X, give him a follow, like his tweet, retweet it, and let him know the superstar sent you. Again, thank you for coming on, Vicente. You did a wonderful job joining us
thanks
today.
for having me.
Yeah,
You gotta give him a
standing
O, Rob.
We're gonna give you a quick standing O for your great conversation, level-headed approach towards this. Again, in a space where people get very sensitive, as you mentioned, very passionate, as you mentioned, and it's always great and a fresh breath there to hear someone speak with reason and calmness and just what are the facts. How can this be better? Everybody likes constructive feedback, so appreciate you coming on. Guys, before you leave and head out, don't forget, become a superstar, smash the subscribe button, join the superstar fam, hit the bell notification to get every single video, every single day. I'll start VIPs, 200 a month, $100% for you guys. Thank you so much. Take care. We will see you all on the next one. Bye-bye.